Hello, this is Chance Dunlap. I have some neat fishing lures to share with you today from my personal collection. These three baits are of some vintage. They were actually part of Dudley Murphy's collection for a long time, and I was really fortunate for the opportunity to acquire them. And they all have some very innovative features. Fishing lures from the very beginning were meant to fool a fish into believing it's something that it's not. And that means a bait that is edible and ready for the fish to eat, but it fools them and has this hook that enables a person fishing to catch the fish. And some fishing lures are made and they catch the fisherman. That's quite common. Beautiful colors, neat hardware, um, cool forms, and the coolest, most innovative action and things like that attract us to the newest and best things. Lots of fishermen tried their hand at making fishing lures. Not everybody made something that was interesting. Matter of fact, I would say just a few out of every 100 homemade fishing lures I look at are even worth a whole lot of consideration. And then of the baits that stay in my collection, those are much harder. There's lots of pieces that come here that don't stay very long. They just don't fit in. Sometimes I'm wrong about it. Sometimes I'm right, but it just at whatever time my criteria for making those selections, some things just move on down the road. These three I feel pretty confident are going to stay. They're innovative enough, unique enough, and definitely different enough than really anything else that's out there that they're pretty much keepers. This piece is documented in the Murphy Edmiston early years fishing lure collectibles book as being made from baleen material, possibly from Canada. Baleen is a material in the mouths of whales that eat on krill and things. It's kind of a horn-like material. This definitely looks like horn. Have you ever seen a chunk of cow horn or ram's horn grips on a knife or something like that? It's very, very similar. Definitely not plastic. It's a very hard, durable material. And so whatever it is, they carved it kind of simply, has some holes drilled in it. It likely changed some as they were working on it. Just kind of trial and error trying to make the thing work. It has a piece of spring steel here that gives it this spring action, how the body moves away from the hook point. So when a fish would strike, they'll, in theory, and get caught. There's actually a lot of baits rather similar to this made, over the last, 125 years. So this person maybe saw some of those and said, hey, I'm going to try my hand at it, and then just happened to have this material. This one's cool. It has this little bolt that holds this whole, stack of metal parts together. It's definitely kind of heavy duty and looks like it would do what the fisherman wanted. It might not catch a fish. This action might be stronger, or the fish might just kind of bounce off of it. But it's kind of a unique piece. It's documented as being a frog. Maybe it is. Not sure. Oh, kind of rolls over there. This bait I think is super cool. This is another one from the Murphy Edmiston book. This one sort of references the very classic Immel Chippewa bait, but that bait has a metal parts, and the propeller is more inside the whole body belly of the bait. This one's rather different. It has this arrow shaped spinner out front, has this single kind of offset eccentric propeller at the back, and they both spin together. So if you could get those going in tandem, you would make quite a commotion in the water if it was to actually function. Got a double hook secured here and a single treble on the belly. A little fin here. Doesn't look like it's missing anything. There's no evidence of solder or anything up here, so it probably just had that one. It's kind of interesting that it's offset just a little bit. Cool, handmade all the way around. This body's kind of misshapen. So it makes me think that maybe there's some kind of a putty material, something like that in here that over time has morphed a little bit. It'd be neat to get x-rays of these baits just to kind of see what's going on inside of them. I think this is a super cool fishing lure that I was really happy to get for my collection. And I was really surprised that guys got to that collection long before I didn't pull this one out of everything. I think it was meant to be here. Another bait that I was really happy to get from the collection, it's a little crude, but man, it's just a super cool piece. It has a wood back and a wood belly, and it has this cut brass spoon, this flat piece inside. It has a spring-loaded diving lip out here. It's all crudely soldered and fit, but you can pull these body halves off, and you have this really cool hand-cut brass. You can see the soldering. Look at this little rivet they put in it. Little spring in there for this action here to secure the body to it. This looks like a hook off of an early Woods minnow, maybe. They had those takeoff hooks. These side hooks are just kind of common looking doubles. Who knows? It's clearly been messed around with. This side looks like it kind of broke out. They probably cut it a little thin and it just tore out the brass at some point. So you kind of got to be careful with it. The two halves, really rather simple. You can see where it's notched a little bit, this part that's kind of the top of the head has a little bit of like a little bit of a head and river runt kind of shape, but it's offset, kind of asymmetrical. So I'm not really sure what they were going for, but if you just kind of plunk that in there and then grab this part, and again, these homemade baits that is what they were, and they weren't perfected, and you kind of gotta like them just because you like them, and want to deal with problems that maybe they develop over time. They may or may not stay together. They may fall apart on you, but you kind of lovingly care for them while you can and hope that you can keep them going. They have a lot of paint issues, things like that you have to contend with. But, one thing about it, you don't have to worry about something that's unblemished getting a little blemish and losing a ton of value because, kind of everything is blemished already. So even if you drop the thing and gets a little paint chip, usually it isn't that big a deal. So if you're kind of a fumble finger person, homemade baits might be good for you to think about collecting. I just think these are really cool. I'm happy to have them in my collection, and hopefully get some more that kind of go along with them. Thanks for watching. I'm always looking for information about homemade fishing lures, so reach out to me, and hopefully get another video going soon.